if you want to make sure that they are correct, you need to figure out which factory that is producing it. You need to actually go to the factory to see that everything is okay, and then you have to send in those threads yourself to get tested for toxicity. Good morning, guys. It is Sunday morning, and I thought I'd start this Sunday morning off talking about the CXC and the royal threads and kind of my ideas behind it. And I also thought I started off so that if you want to watch my vlogs, you can always continue watching, but if you're just so interested about the CXC and the royal threads, you can stay and watch now, and then you can leave if you don't want to see more. But I wanted to talk about my opinions, kind of the reasons why I am choosing not to buy the CXC and the royal threads, and kind of things you might want to think about before buying the CXC and royal threads. And for you who don't know what the CXC and royal threads are about, they are Chinese branded embroidery threads. They are either cotton or some kind of rayon plastic, sort of polyester of some sort kind. The reason why I'm talking about this is because it's yet again up on one of the Facebook groups. I think it was the Heaven and Earth this time. The post was really nice. It was a girl who wondered kind of the differences between the CXC and the DMC, but there were a couple of comments that made me want to go in and put my kind of point of view into it. I did get an answer, and we're gonna go into those details. So as I said, the CXC and the royal threads are Chinese threads. One of the things you have to know is that these are products that are produced in China for China. This means that they don't need to withhold to European or US standards when it comes to toxicity in whatever dyes that are used to dye the threads, or how any kind of chemicals are used when the threads are produced. One of the first things you can think about is that all clothes have anti-mold kind of chemicals on them to not mold in transit to whatever stores that you are buying. This is one of the reasons why you should wash your clothes before using them. Threads also have that, so that mold doesn't attach to it. The threads that we usually don't wash, which means that you would have those anti-mold products on your thread. So that is one of the toxicity you can be aware of. Also, if you didn't know, DMC actually have a little notice on their labels that all the threads in the US are not to be sold in the EU, and the big reason for that is that there's actually a couple of threads in the US range that are colored with dyes that are not legal in the EU. And this is very, like, the differences between the US and the EU is actually very little, but the differences between what's legal in the EU and the US versus China is very big. China doesn't have those kind of regulations. They have a few, but not that many. So you need to verify that the products that you are bringing in are actually legal to bring in, because you as a private person, when you buy from AliExpress or Alibaba or whatever Chinese Wish, for example, the Chinese stores out there, those products, you as an importer is legally responsible that those are legally allowed to be in the country. When you buy products from a US or a European company that are producing things in China, they have a legal responsibility to make sure that those products are produced in the correct way, with like that the factories isn't child factories, that the chemicals used in the factories isn't detrimental to the people working there, and also that the chemicals in the products that they bring back is legal to have in the products when they come to the US and the EU. When you are importing things yourself, you are responsible for that yourself. So that's a big thing, a huge thing. Then we can talk about the next thing, things that are maybe more, even though toxicity is a very important thing, we have other things. And for example, that is light fastness. I know that you have water fastness and you have light fastness, and certain colors will run more than you wash them. But light fastness is how the threads will be affected by light over time, by sunlight over time. And the DMC threads are verified for so and so many years of light fastness. CXC and Royal isn't, or at least what I have found when I have tried looking on the internet, there is actually very little information on the CXC and the Royal threads. Most posts that I find about it is blog posts that have very kind of angled opinions. I even read on one of the blog posts like, I am a thread licker and I've been using these threads for so and so many years and they have never hurt me. Now, the toxicity in the threads might not cause allergies, but they might actually cause a problem with causing your fetus actually sickening your babies before they're born and stuff like that. So just because you can lick your thread and you have never reacted to it doesn't mean that they are okay. That is a very bad way of figuring that out. I would want to, if I would buy CXC or Royal thread, I would want to send them into a chemical lab to make sure that they are okay. However, that is very expensive. I don't have the money, so I keep with my DMC. And a third thing is that kind of a follow-up on this is that when I posted my kind of spiel on this, a girl posted like, I did a lot of research a couple of years ago and the factory that makes these are actually certified, and then she had a screenshot of the factory. They contained the URL and then 3 different certifications. For 2 of them, one was for ISO and 2 of them was for a Swiss tech company, or the textile testing company, which is one of the kind of, it is this one of the standard companies for testing textiles. Now, here's the thing. First of all, what I realized after actually trying, because they were a little bit, the image wasn't that good, so I couldn't see everything, so I wanted to look up to find those that ISO and those certifications on the website. So I went through the website, and guess what? They don't produce neither the CXC or the Royal threads at all. So I think most people would have seen the certificates on her post or on her answer to me and like, okay, so they're certified. But it's not even the factory that produces the CXC and the Royal threads. That is a big issue that people are spreading like, but these are safe to use because of this, and you can't even see that. Second of that is that sadly, I have found this many times when I've been looking for other products on AliExpress and Alibaba, and this is also one of the reasons why I try now to find my products that I want to use mostly from the EU and the US. And that is that many of the stores on AliExpress, on Wish, that has like, well, we are certified, the certification is not legal. It isn't a proper certification. I have found certification numbers that and then have gone to the specific company that certifies, put that into a search engine that they have, and what I come up is that that doesn't exist. They don't have that specific number. It's just a random number that they just added to an image that they found on Google and say that they are certified. Of course, in this case, the factory that she was looking at is a bigger factory, seems to have been used by bigger companies. However, they still don't produce neither the CXC or the Royal threads. So if you want to make sure that they are correct, you need to figure out which factory that is producing it. You need to actually go to the factory to see that everything is okay, and then you have to send in those threads yourself to get tested for toxicity. That is the whole thing you need to do. I have not done that. I will never be using products directly from China. I will not be using the CXC and the royal threads because I know that they haven't been properly verified. It's not until I see an American company or a Europe company that can show me the certification that themselves have gotten for these threads to be sold in the US or the EU, that I will be buying threads from them. That's how it is. There's a lot of Etsy stores that are out there that are selling them, that are importing them and then selling them, but these are usually smaller people and none of them has actually checked those threads themselves. So yeah, that is my big spiel on the CXC and the royal threads. You can make your own decisions, but I would try to, if I were you, I would really look into it. I did some quick Google searching to find my information, and because I couldn't find all the information I was looking for, that was what kind of caused red flags with me. The lack of information is almost more important than actually information existing. If information was existing, I would also double check the information, but in this case I couldn't find neither. But yeah, so my spiel, my battery died, so I'm back with a new battery. Vlogging, you need 2 batteries. But yeah, as I said, I am going to sit down. I'm going to do some cross-stitching on my Heaven and Earth design, which is Envy, and which I'm doing in DMCs on 25 count. I'm loving it. I'm also going to edit the vlog, and I'm going to sit and be very happy because it is snowing outside. Not that the snow will stick. It's not cold enough for the snow to stick. But just looking outside and seeing those thick white snowflakes fall down, it makes me really happy. But yeah, good morning guys. I hope you have an awesome day.
Other Florida metro areas, but residents still spend more than 32% of the median house.
Exciting things are happening. So when we were shopping, I don't know if it was this turnaround or if it actually was last time we went shopping, we shopped for some dark and light baking chocolate and also some rice, puffed rice. In my case, this is the one we're using, because we wanted to make rice chocolate. You basically take 200 grams of chocolate, you mix it with 1 tablespoon of oil, and you heat it up in a pot. I do it on stove. You can do it in the in your microwave oven or something like that, but I usually just burn it when that happens. So I am doing it on the stove, warming it up. I have the dark one that I'm working on, but I also picked up a light one, and we were going to do that the rice chocolate. So super simple. Heat it up to on a very low level so that it just gets all liquidy, and when the chocolate is completely liquid, you pour it into a empty bowl and then you just fill it up with the rice. Then you put it on one of these. I am going to do it on some aluminum foil because we didn't have any baking papers because we rarely bake, but usually you should be using like baking paper to have it at bottom. Then you can put it into your refrigerator and then it cools down and it gets all hard and full of rice, and it's Christmas candy. Actually doing it for Christopher because this is a candy that he usually gets from his mum when it's Christmas. So I thought, why not make it myself for him? So I'm gonna do that. Now I am going to, the chocolate is just finished melting, so I'm gonna show you the finished results. And this is how it looks when it's on the little baking thing. It's really simple. After the chocolate was heated up with that little bit of oil, I just pour down these little puffs and I just continue. I pour it in a little bit. I kind of folded the chocolate, folded this way, folded the chocolate, over the rice puffs, and I just continue adding a little bit more and a little bit more until I felt that, well, now it's enough rice puffs. And then when that was done, I just poured it all out here. I'm using a spatula when I'm doing this so that I can get all the chocolate out of the little metal bowl that I was using. And then I just use that spatula to kind of push carefully down to have an even layer of the rice puffs. So now I'm going to put this into the refrigerator and let it cool down for a couple of hours, and then it's ready to eat. Super simple, super quick, super good. So I put these first into the refrigerator so it kind of dried or got a little bit harder, but they didn't harden all the way through. So I then, when it was hard enough to be able to just pack it into that aluminum foil, I did so and put it in the freezer. Now it's been into the freezer about an hour. So I took it out, broke it out to small pieces. I actually have 2 of these, and that is kind of how it's finished. And then you have like little pieces you can eat. Some people do this, like they put out small clots of this so you get like smaller pieces, but I actually like the idea of just breaking it apart. I like how it looks. So here is the chocolate rice. I have been sort of gaming all day without gaming. One of the kind of bad side effects of MMORPGs are that most of them have some kind of dungeons that you are supposed to play with other people, and sometimes that doesn't really work. Today I found out that there is one specific dungeon that is kind of overrun by bots, and what that in reality kind of gave to me was that I was in a queue for that dungeon for like 4 hours and I never got in. I didn't sit and stare on the computer for 4 hours and did nothing. I just let the character stand there in the queue, and then I went around doing other stuff. But it was quite annoying because I need to get through that dungeon. Some dungeons you don't have to. This camera don't want to focus on me. But some dungeons you don't have to. But in this case, I want a specific bow and I need to do the instance to finish the quest, and you're probably not interested. Anyhow, quite annoying. So while I was waiting for that, I've been running around doing a few things. One of the things is that I updated in the Facebook group, the Stitch Talk Facebook group. I went in and registered for everything because I finished the 100-day challenge. I finished all 4 challenges for 2019, and by the new rules I needed to make a post where I posted all my start and end photos for all of the challenges. So I had to go through and do that, and I done that. I also sat down and colored while I was waiting, so my card is colored, it's up on the internet and done. And now I am actually going to sit down and just cross stitch. I'm quite tired. I don't know, I'm in a good mood, but I'm in the I want to be able to do a couple of things, but the cold just doesn't allow me to do it. That kind of mood. And you can see I have very dry lips. That is because of the cold. However, it seems like Christopher got a worse version, or if mine is delayed, we'll see, because his nose is running, the poor boy. So yeah, because I'm just gonna stitch and then gonna head to bed, I thought I would kind of finish up today's vlog. It didn't get too many photos, but the whole idea was that I was supposed to sit down and just do some gaming and then kind of just continue on with things, and then I got stuck in that instance for so many hours, and it kind of threw off the whole thing. Gizmo is trying to eat my hand. That's not okay, Gizmo. But tomorrow I think I'm gonna set up my character to go into a queue already in the morning, and then we'll see if that can work out, or after I get home from Qigong, that is, because tomorrow I only have Qigong, and then I have the whole day to do fun things. So I have a few things that I want to do. This is the last week before I start working again, and I want to make sure that I got everything set up on the computer, make sure all of those things, and maybe play around a little bit with it, but we'll see. I still don't know where I'm gonna be, so we'll see. And yeah, that's the whole thing. Aww, Gizmo's laying down just next to me and being very adorable. But I'm gonna head over to that corner of the sofa. I've gotten my mobiles ready, so I'm gonna put some YouTube on this screen. Part of me didn't want to leave the craft room because Christopher is sitting and looking at Buffy, and it's been really nice because we've been spending time together in there just watching Buffy. But yeah, I'm gonna sit down and watch some YouTubes and do some stitching, some more stitching, a lot of stitching. I was going through all the photos and all the kind of Instagram posts, because it was how I was keeping track of all the stitching challenges, and I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, I so want to, you know, go back. It's like I was stitching 900 to 1200 stitches a day. I was stitching hard, but I also know that my back can't allow that. It's just not okay for my back to do that. So, but I was stitching hard there for a while. Also, I'm a little bit like, I don't know if I'm going to, I don't know which Instagram account that I am going to share my private stuff on. That is a little bit tricky. Like, I used to share all my private stuff on Craftable Creations, then I made that a little bit more just my cards and card making and coloring. So then I started sharing my private stuff on Marika Stitches, which was my Marika Cavalli before, and now I'm not sure if I just want it to be for my stitching progress. Oh, kitty hair. I don't know if I want it for my just that. It's hard, and I can't really start a new one because I already have too many. I can only have so many open, and I already have coffee and planners. I have, which I might actually do my private stuff on coffee and planners with a little bit more kind of coffee inspired. That might be it, yeah. We'll see, because I really want to share my travels. I want to share those things, and not only with like through this, but also that way. But yeah, well, I am going to say good night to you, and so good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Can't just leave without showing little Gizmo. This is Gizmo. He's adorable, and he's all like, Mom, I'm just lying here and being cuddly. Oh, he's so furry. It's like a little fur ball. A little baby. A little baby.